Rodriguez and his sister, Jassmin Lopez, to talk about his upcoming movie, How to Save the World. This movie will be having a premiere on June 27th at the Larkspur Theater. Doors open at 6 p.m. and the movie begins at 6:30 p.m. So make sure to be there. That is this Tuesday. So we'll see you guys there. And before we dive into our questions and our topics, I'm going to ask you guys an icebreaker question. And my icebreaker for today is, what is your current favorite movie? I don't know. I feel like
who should go first? Her? Or like
we'll go. Okay, whoever actually.
I'm gonna make her go first.
Okay.
Because I'm curious.
Probably my favorite movie right now is like Spider-Man. The new one that just came out.
I haven't seen it. So.
It's really good.
Yeah. No, yeah, I would agree with her. I would say Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It just came out. The animation in it is really, really good. And I think they expand on from the first movie really well. And they just are really good storytellers with like visual art and like animation and everything. So I thought it's really good. That's my favorite movie right now too. Yeah.
Santi?
I am blanking, but I'm gonna say the same thing. The animation, the music, and that film, the way it was made as well, is really interesting. Animation is not like it's on, it's more not with live actors, but it takes a lot of time. Mm-hmm. So I was amazed that I think one of the characters, I don't remember the name, took 4 years to make. So that's amazing. And the visual was really nice. I really liked it. And it's a good, from the first one to the second one, it was good. It was all connected.
Yeah.
And so it was all very well planned out. So I really did like that movie.
I have not watched it. I'm planning on going to watch it.
Yeah,
currently for mine is Guardians of the Galaxy, just because
How could I miss that one?
Yeah, that's
the new one that just came out.
Oh my God. I told you my head was blinking.
I was just the whole like idea with like Rocket and him like learning about his past and everything. I thought it really touched really well. So
I think it's my favorite trilogy, the first one, second, and third. Although they're not very popular MCU characters,
yeah, they're not.
Just James Gunn did such an amazing job at directing and storytelling, and I know he's gone from the MCU, but he nailed his exit. I would say he did such an amazing job.
I agree with you.
With Guardians of the Galaxy.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you guys for sharing. And now we're going to dive into our first topic, which is we're going to be talking about your past experience with your movies, filming, acting, and we want to know a little bit more about you since you're new to our show. So I first want to start off with what are your past movies?
Like what I've worked on before? Officially, technically, I've done like 17 like short films. They're all on YouTube, and they're all like, I would say more practice short films than like official short films, right? But as far as like movies, I've only done Bus 233 with Devin. That's Devin's movie, and I shot that for him. I did the camera work for all that, and I also did Streets, and that one I wrote, edited, and directed, and acted in it, and did all that, right? And then I also have 4 short films that I would call like my official start on short films on YouTube as well. And those are just a couple of ones I've done.
How's your experience building from that to here?
It's going really well. I think I've grown a lot as a filmmaker. I've just learned so much, and what was I gonna say? I've learned a lot of like from my mistakes, because I've made a lot of mistakes. That's definitely like a part of learning. You're gonna make mistakes and learn from them, obviously. But I've also learned a lot from just doing it kind of amateur, because obviously I don't have money like other filmmakers where they have like a bunch of like gear and everything. I just use what I got, and I have to find a way to be able to be good with what I have, right? And that has made my experience really, for the better. Because then I can innovate and like think of new ways to do like cool things, right? Like one of them, like I told you, was that effect that you see on her face, the rainbow effect. That was very low budget. We don't have anything crazy like around her. It was just like something simple. Well, I'm not gonna say what it was, but it was something very simple that I had to figure out how to do. Very cheap, But yeah, it's been good. Yeah, I would say. I think my freshman self, like from 2017, like my like 16-year-old self would look at me now and be like, "Wow, you know that much? You do this now? That's crazy, right?" But yeah, I've learned a lot. I think I'm.
You've always been into film making, correct?
Almost always. I've always had an interest in like in movies and stuff, but filmmaking itself, I started getting into it like in 2017 because that's when Spider-Man came out, and that's what made me want to make movies for sure. But before that, I was always like, "Ooh, movies are so cool," and I actually kind of just wanted to be an actor, just because I was like, "Oh, I want to be Spider-Man, or I want to do this and that." But then I like watched that movie and thought of, it'd be kind of cool to make the movie too, right? So then that's when I was like, let me try to make little videos, and then that's when I started.
Oh, wow.
That. So
I just wanted to start off by saying that every time you come on here, I admire your work so much because, like you mentioned, and even way before now, I think you said you recorded your films on an iPhone.
yeah, I
And
did.
so one of the biggest things in any passion that you have is to use what you have.
Yeah.
And it's easy for us to kind of like want to get things perfect. I have this thing where I want things to get perfect and I think of the equipment, how I can do things better. But at times, like you said, you need to use what you have and be creative with what you have.
Yeah.
And then in the future things will come along, and then your younger self, you can see the difference. And I think that's amazing, especially for the youth in our community today, whether it's film or not. Being able to explore the field that you're in right now, it's very important. And so now we do have your sister, and you're getting her involved in your films, and I think it's a beautiful way. You're 11 years old,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
And you are seeing your older brother, and so the fact that you bring your family and your friends, because I know your friends support you so much, I think it's just beautiful, and I admire your work so much. So I'm really happy to have you and your little sister to learn more about how you guys, got to work on this movie together as siblings, and also to promote this movie. With that being said, you've kind of done variations of different movies from like the action one with or was that Bus 30? I don't think so. I think it was Streets.
Streets, yeah.
Yeah. And then now this movie is a different take. And so I'm curious on first, what is the movie, the theme of the movie, and what inspired you to write this story of how you saved the world?
I would say the theme of the movie, or like what I was kind of going for, was something different, if that makes sense, and not as different as, oh, it's a movie you've never seen before. Which, I mean, that's kind of true. You've probably never seen this movie before, but as in something you haven't seen me do before, right? You've seen me do maybe like thriller, like horror.
Yeah.
You've seen me do action, maybe drama. You've never seen me write a story about two little girls that are best friends, because that's what the movie's about. The movie's about a little girl who accidentally time travels to the future, and she meets her best friend who's now 18, and now she has to figure out how to get back to her the time, and also kind of get to know her older friend and see what she's missed over the course of that many years, right? And what inspired me to write the movie was just her. I kind of was I really liked Jassmin wants to be an actor or an actress, right? That's what she said. And she's done like you've done like shows at school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, plays.
There you go. Yeah. How many have you done? You've done
Like one or two.
one or two. Yeah, she's done like one or two, and she has an interest in acting, right? So I was thinking of writing something short about time travel, and it was originally going to be a short film just on YouTube, which there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, it still would have been good. It's just on YouTube, right? But when I was writing it, I basically was just writing her as herself, but she kind of had to go a little bit more out there with it, because she's going to be on camera and do this a bunch of different things. But as I was writing it, I had a thought about the time travel part, and I realized it'd be very interesting to see how an 11-year-old would interact with a friend or even themselves at an older age, and see what they've like missed and what mistakes they've made, and like just learn about life that they didn't happen to live through because they accidentally jumped those years. So that thought just came into my head when I was writing and everything. So I just wrote it all out as a movie, and it ended up being maybe like 80, 90 pages. And then I realized, I was like, okay, this is a movie now. It's not like a short film. So, and then I was very excited to present it to her. I was like, oh, I got something for you, and I think you're really going to like it. She's like, what is it? I was like, oh, it's about time travel. She's like Back to the Future? I was like, well, not entirely, kind of. But I was like, I think you're really gonna like it. I think you're gonna relate to it a lot because it's kind of about you, but not entirely. But I think you're gonna be able to relate to some of the like themes, but as well as you're gonna just like the story, like how it goes, and So she kind of inspired me to just write it for her, almost. Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah.
How did it feel for you to be the inspiration of this movie?
It felt like really nice because like he kind of inspired me because like I saw when I was little, I always see him like being creative, like making short films. Like he would use some stuff from home. And I'd see him and I'd be like, what are you doing? He's like, "I'm making stuff."
Be in the kitchen, just grabbing stuff. What are you doing? Nothing. We just need this knife for something. Go.
How that's interesting because I wanted to kind of get the connection, but so you are into acting. Oh, okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And is this your first movie? Like in one of your brother's movies?
Yeah.
Why haven't you put her before?
She just stares at me like, yeah. Boy, the thing is, I also really I like putting my other sister as well. Jocelyn, you've seen her. You saw her in Streets. She's the one that she's a little spoiler. She's the one that dies. She's the character's like little sister or whatever. But anyways, I want to put both of them in movies. But the thing is, it happened to us too. Just because when I started younger, I looked younger. The thing is, you can't write everything, right? Like if that makes sense, you can't write someone to be a cop and they're like 17. They don't look like a cop. You know what I mean? So the thing about them is they were a little too young to be acting in the stuff I was making because it was action or like something crazy. And there's no way a 5-year-old, like a 7, 8-year-old could like do that. But as I got older and they got older, they're growing up too. I realized that there's a way to, if you write it in a way where it would work with, younger people or just, a certain character where you could write it to an age. I can include them. So at this point, obviously, she was a little older and she can actually understand direction. Because again, she's only 11, but she obviously understands. We're like, oh, you have to go here, do this, do that. But when she was younger, because kids are kids, they're not gonna understand. They're gonna be like, but why? Why are you recording me? So it's a thing where I kind of had to wait for her to almost come to me and be like, hey, I kind of want to try, acting or Then that's when I was like, oh, okay, cool, we'll try it. And then I wrote her a whole.
So that's what happened. She came to you.
So she kind of came to me, but mainly I just waited for her to get older. Is what I said. So both of them, my other sister too.
And did you ever ask before to be in one of his movies?
No, I don't think I ever did. But when I was little, I always wanted to.
Yeah.
And how does it feel now, having your whole movie made already?
It feels great because like I always wanted this.
And have you watched it fully?
No, she hasn't watched it.
She hasn't watched it?
She's gonna watch it for the first time in the theater.
Oh wow. Okay, that's exciting then.
So, and I watched it a couple times. It's I'm very excited for her to see it, and everyone else to see it. But I'm very excited for her to see it because she doesn't. The thing about it is, you would think I would be like, oh, action, we do whatever we do. And then I go, oh, look what you did. No, I don't show her anything. I go, okay, you did good. She's like, you sure? I'm like, you did fine. Don't worry about it. And then now she's going to see, she might even forgot some of the scenes because she's in it, she's the main character, but she might have forgot little moments that I had her do in each take or like something like that. So it's going to be a good watch. I think she's really going to like it.
How is it, what's the difference between the play and working with your brother on this movie?
I don't really know because like the play you had to do it. It was like really simple, and this movie like it took like about a month.
Oh wow!
And yeah, we had to use like our teamwork and stuff.
What plays were? Oh, sorry.
No, it's
I was gonna ask what plays were you in?
I forgot. It was in 4th grade.
Oh, it's okay. Okay. And I wanted to ask if you could just like introduce yourself a little bit and like where you go. I feel like we kind of skipped that part.
Oh yeah, we did.
If you could just introduce yourself and like say what school you go to and just like a little bit about yourself.
Oh yeah, hi. So hi, I'm Jassmin, and I'm in Santa Loa, and I don't know.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 6th grade.
6th.
Oh, middle school.
Oh, my little brother's in 6th. Wait, you're going into 6th?
Yes.
Oh wait, my brother's going to 7th. Never mind.
Well, I'm really happy to hear that you're getting involved with your brother. I think over time, there's so many success stories of siblings who work together and create films, directing, writing. So the fact that you guys are coming in together and getting creative is the best way to bond as siblings, I would say. But at the same time, to get more creative. But I do want to ask that question about the bonding. How was it? Because you're filming a movie, but you're also siblings. So how was that process for you guys? How was it for or whoever wants to start on that?
I'll let you go. How was it filming with me? How was the
It was
bond?
really
Did
good
we bond?
sometimes. Sometimes I would like goof off with like with Lilith.
With Lilith, yeah.
And sometimes he would get mad at me, like, because I was distracted.
Yeah.
He's like, Jassmin, we have to do it. We have to film. Stop.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay.
What else?
But it was still good.
It was good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that's why I asked, because whenever you're working with siblings, that happens to me, because I work around with my brothers, and separating the two of sibling and work is sometimes tricky, because sometimes I'm the oldest from my other brothers, and when they do something, I'm like, hey, like, no, you gotta do this and stuff. But then I do my best, and he reminds me, like, hey, remember to keep it. Work is work, and sibling is sibling. So you gotta put the two in different boxes. But at times you can combine them together, which is great when you can do those. But like I said, I'm really excited to see where you're gonna continue doing and getting this experience young. I think in any area that, for example, you want to apply to something, they always ask for experience. And usually people don't have experience. So the fact that you're starting now, and if it's a career that you really want to take into, you're practicing already, which is great.
Yeah.
And I can't make it to the premiere, but I'm like really excited to watch the movie. And is it gonna be on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I wasn't gonna say here, but I mean,
Oh, okay.
it's okay. No, it's gonna premiere on Tuesday, and I really recommend everyone to come watch it in the theater, just because it's obviously a different experience and it's a little bit more fun, right? You get to see it in the theater. But if you don't get the chance, it'll be on YouTube on Friday, so June 30th. It'll be on YouTube if you miss it. So it'll.
Were
be
you
on
planning to not do that?
I was thinking about it, but then I realized that one, there's nothing wrong with putting it on YouTube. It's not like, oh, it's just a YouTube movie. No, it's not. It's a movie. It's just you can watch it on YouTube. The more people that can see it, the better, right? So same thing with Streets. I put it on YouTube, and I was like, the more people that see it, the better. So right now, what I'm really trying to do is just get my work out there. I don't really care if I make money on it right now, because I know eventually one day I will. But at the moment, I'm totally okay with people seeing it for free if they see it at all, you know? So yeah, it will be on YouTube, and that was a choice that I wanted to make after after I watched it. After I watched it, I was like, there's no way, I gotta put this on YouTube. People gotta see this. So and I know obviously some people won't be able to make it to the premiere, so that'd be kind of rude if like you didn't make it and you're like, oh, you don't get to watch it now. Like, I don't like what, you know? So that's why I thought it'd be nice if people could see it on YouTube, and if anybody sees it on Tuesday, you can rewatch it. You know, you can go back and see maybe one of your favorite scenes or whatever you want. So it'll be on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And Jassmin, what is the biggest difference between have you watched all your brother's films? Is the real question.
Not
I know she
really.
hasn't. I'm not gonna get mad at her, but she hasn't.
You haven't? Okay.
Only like some of them.
Oh, okay.
She's seen like clips, but she saw Streets like all the way through. She was at the premiere, so she saw it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was gonna say, what's the biggest difference between like the very first films or like short films that your brothers made versus like now? Versus Streets, I guess, since that's the one you've seen last.
Oh, probably like, not to be rude, but like kind of the acting and the quality, because he used to use his iPhone.
Oh, you're talking about the short films on. Okay.
Yeah,
Like his acting or the actors?
the actors.
She's about to say everyone.
Because he used to use his iPhone and it had kind of bad quality.
Yeah.
But now he has like a better camera.
Okay.
Yeah, my setup is our setup, I would say, because me and Devin use the same thing, exact same camera, same mic, everything. Our setup is really good now. So to that, I agree with the quality of the iPhone. It was a good idea at the moment to like get experience, like you said, and everything. But now having like all the gear and having the experience, it adds up and makes it really good. So
I was gonna mention that, because in anything that you are starting and you're using what you have, when you look back at your work, you can get a cringy moment like, oh, I did that. But what's behind that is the experience. So I guarantee you that you will look back at this too, and maybe you have a cringy moment. You're like, I don't know. But because you've evolved and you've kind of gained experience. So yeah.
From the movie that you make when you're like in 10 years, you're gonna be like, wow, I came a long way. And you're gonna be like, thanks to my brother for putting me in those movies.
You're only 11, so like in 10 years, you'd be like 21.
One.
You're gonna be like 30.
I'm gonna be like 30. Leave me alone. Don't
Goodness. In 2
You're only
years, you're gonna
21.
be my age because I'm 21. So
Me too.
yeah.
We're
That's crazy.
a really quick like funny thing because I wanted to say this before we like keep going. She was born the day after me, but 10 years later. So
Oh,
my birthday is
really?
November 20th, 2001. She was born November 21st.
Did you just forget my birthday?
No, I didn't. November 21st, 2011. So she was born literally 10 years to the date.
So
Like,
cool.
exact.
That's
So whenever,
nice.
so it's fun. So but you already know what that means because we're Latino. Celebrate both at the same time. No, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
So you don't get your own day.
fun. No, never.
I mean, it's okay.
No.
Okay. Wait, okay, one more question before we go into our break. How did it feel to be the main character, and how was everything like within, you said it took like a month to make?
Yeah, I think so.
Was this during school? How did that work?
Yeah, it was during school because like I kind of had a curfew because my mom wanted me home. Not blaming my mom, but like because
She wanted you
I'm
home.
still a
She
little
wanted you home.
kid.
She let me know. She was like, home now. I was like, yep, yes, ma'am. No, we're on our way.
So we had to work with it because like I still had to go home and go to school the next
And
day.
do homework. And
Yeah, and do homework.
that.
When did you guys film? In May?
So it was longer than a month. First of all,
Oh,
it might have felt like a month because it was fast and fun. No, it wasn't. We started shooting in early February, but we took little breaks though, because like we would stop and then wait till like 2 weeks and then start shooting again. But it was from like late February to May. The first week of May is when we stopped shooting. That was the last time we shot. So it took a couple months. And like she just said, the main difficult thing about it was her having to go home at a certain time so she can go to school the next day. And then she started to do her homework before I even went to go pick her up to film. So the priority was, she has priorities too. So the priority was she needed to do that first. Like school was first, and then she can come and do this. And I told her if she didn't do like her homework or was like falling behind on school or anything, then that we would either stop filming until she caught up or just cut the movie, which it almost happened like twice. I was like,
Wait,
but,
she was like, she wasn't doing her work or what?
she wasn't. I'm not gonna put her on blast, but she wasn't doing her work sometimes. Yeah. So we just had to watch out for that. That's all. She just had to pay attention to her work. Priorities.
Yeah. I think especially like more if you really want to go into acting. I feel like acting is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And make sure to do your schooling. I remember, this just reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember from Disney, they had like Disney school where the actors in Disney had like their own like little school. Do you guys remember that?
I think so.
They would show clips on that.
They have like their own like prom and everything.
Yeah.
They couldn't. It's because they couldn't go to like normal school.
Yeah.
They're
Really?
famous.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, I didn't know
Disney
that.
kids.
Disney kids,
Yeah.
yeah. It just reminded me of that. I'm like, you're gonna probably end up doing that. Going to Disney prom. Okay. Okay, we'll be right back and we'll be going into our PSA. Oh.
But yeah, thank you guys for sharing for the first part. And yeah, we will be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Bye, guys.
Looking for a way to make a local impact and take action against climate change in your community? The Center for Volunteer and Nonprofit Leadership, in partnership with CA Climate Action Corps, California Volunteers, Office of the Governor, has an ongoing climate action wildfire prevention project in the 4 counties that we serve: Marin, Napa, Solano, and Sonoma. The mission of this project is to engage community members in volunteer work to reduce wildfire risk in communities around the North Bay. Since September 2022, we have recruited over 500 climate volunteers. In Marin, CVNL has an ongoing wildfire prevention project called San Pedro Ridge Fire Safety. San Pedro Ridge Fire Safety is led by Robin Pendoli and is a collection of friends and neighbors from throughout the county who are working to protect neighborhoods throughout San Rafael from wildfire. Join them 2 Saturdays a month to pull invasive French broom and help our local woodlands get back to health. The CVNL Climate Impact Project is a great volunteer opportunity for students in need of community service hours. Go to volunteernow.org/climate-impact-project to sign up today.
Welcome back, guys. And today we are going to talk a little bit about our announcements. And we have a driver's license workshop on Thursday, June 29th from 5 to 8 p.m. It will take place at Canal Alliance, which is located at 91 Larkspur Street, Santa Fe. These are the documents required to apply a valid passport and proof of residency, meaning that the mail that you take has to have your name that is connected with your passport. They have the same address. If you have no same name, my bad. If you have no documents, you can also find out how to apply for a driver's license as well. The goal of the driver's license clinic is to provide assistance to ESL Marin County residents who do not have a driver's license. And the clinic offers assistance with documentation, preparation, creating a DMV account, scheduling appointments for the writing and driving tests, providing studying materials for both tests, comprehensive support throughout the process of obtaining a California driver's license. I do want to say that if you are undocumented, we are in one of the very few states in the U.S. who provides driver license to U.S. citizens. So I would say highly take advantage of that, because if you get an accident or if something goes wrong, you are protected with the law. And if you don't have a driver's license, it's a whole other mess. So I highly suggest everyone to go to this workshop. And on another note, Tay Radio is going to be hosting a career fair, and we have a survey for all of you to give input on the type of jobs and internships you all want to see at this career fair, and we will be putting this link in the description of this video, as well as you can find anything related to this event in our Instagram bio. With that being said, we're going to go back to the second half of the show, and I want to start off with you kind of answered this question already, so I'm gonna switch because we've been kind of going back and forth. But you said this is a time traveling movie.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how you have the difference of like today and the future.
Yeah.
What did you do different? What looks different in the film? Yeah, just basically that.
I won't lie to you, I didn't do much just because what I really wanted to make sure was, although 2030 sounds like it's super far away, it actually like might be here quicker than, because time goes by really fast once you're like an adult and like, out of school and all that stuff, in my opinion. Because I feel like, because again, my sisters have been like, now she's like 11, almost 12, and I swear she was like a baby like a minute ago. Like, so that's why, I didn't really change much. When she time travels to the year 2030, and that's 7 years or like 6 from now. Let's seven, my bad. And I assumed that there's gonna be some stuff that's obviously different, as in like maybe like the phones and stuff. But because I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to change that much, I didn't change much. I really didn't. So the surroundings are gonna look the exact same. There is one thing that looks pretty cool. There's one shot in the movie where you're gonna see a tree that's like fallen over, and that's just because we obviously see it now. The climate change has gone really, bad and stuff. And I'm assuming later it'll get worse. So I got one shot, this really cool shot where they're talking in front of a tree, and the tree is like, it's really a big tree, and it's like ripped out of the ground just onto the floor, and they're talking right in front of it. And it's just like a little detail, but in the future, I'm sure the climate change will get a little worse, and like, we won't see like catastrophe, I'm assuming, but yeah, but I didn't change much. I don't have, if I had like budget, like a lot of money, I would have been like, oh, flying cars and all this other stuff, hoverboards, just like Back to the Future and stuff. But I didn't want to do anything crazy. And also, I won't lie, although the movie's about time travel, it's really more about the characters. It's a character piece. So the time travel is a little piece of the story, not entirely, right? So
Okay.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's when I was watching the trailer, it seemed more like it was focused more on
On the
just
two
your
friends.
sister.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so with your past movies with Streets and this, you mentioned that the difference between you got inspiration from your sister to make this movie. Was there any other inspiration based on like the future part a little more?
The future part of the movie, I got that from Back to the Future, just because that movie is really, really good, and I also like all three of them. They're really good. There's 3 of the movies. They're a trilogy, and she's watched 2 of them. She didn't see the last one, but she's watched 2 of them, and she really liked them too. And The main inspiration I got for the future part was my friend Maya Elise, who plays the older version of her friend. And the only reason I got inspiration from her was for one, I told her I would write her another role after Streets. That's just a little thing I wanted to do for her. But also, I saw her little sister. I saw Maya Elise has a sister, and she looks just like her. She's just younger, obviously. And I was like, that'd be funny if she played the younger and then she played the older version of her. So,
That's her sister.
Yeah,
okay,
so,
she does look like her a
right?
little.
She does
Yeah.
look like her a little bit, yeah. But I noticed, I mean, if you really look at her, you'll notice details that are different about them because they're not the same person. They're two different people. But for movie purposes, it worked really well. But I got inspiration from both of them, that pair of the girls, because I thought it'd be cool if one of them played the younger version, the other one played the older version.
How involved were you with this? Were you just acting, or were you doing anything, like, I don't know? I'm just curious.
Learning how to edit.
I
Something.
think I was just
Oh,
acting.
yeah, because you said you weren't letting her see anything.
Yeah, I thought about
Yeah,
that. But I was curious about, I don't know, maybe storytelling that you saw something that you wanted in there, but if you're just acting, I was curious.
How's it like, were you there filming? Like, okay, wait, I don't know how to word this question. Okay. How is it, hopefully this makes sense. Okay. How is it like being in the film and then like kind of like, since it's I do not know how to word this. It's like a future film, but like kind of like seeing how life would be in the future. How is that
Oh,
like?
I get what
You
you're
get what I'm saying?
Okay, so you haven't seen it, but how is it that, how do you feel that you're playing your version of the character, right? There's like 2-3 scenes with the older version of your character, and you haven't even seen them, but how do you feel about like seeing maybe a version of you that's
That's what I'm saying.
Does that make sense? Basically, when we're
I
asking,
didn't even get that.
my bad. It's hard to, I don't know, I mean,
You get what I'm asking though, right?
Okay, tell me one more time.
Okay, like, so how is it like you playing your character now and then like seeing yourself in the future and how your life would be in the future? How does that feel? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I won't lie to you. She hasn't seen the scenes though. She has to watch the movie.
But was she there, like filming it? She wasn't. Oh,
'Cause I didn't
okay.
want her to know what it was.
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind. I
But,
thought she was like there throughout it. Okay.
Well, but here we go. How do you feel that there's another person playing the older you? How's that feel?
crazy.
Cool? Crazy?
Yeah.
Did she look like you though? Celeste, remember? She had.
Oh,
She hasn't even met
Celeste,
her?
there you go. No, she's seen it. She's seen it. We took pictures together.
she looks really similar to me.
Yeah, I had to find someone who looked like her, and it couldn't be my other sister because she's too young, but also they don't look the same.
Wait, back up. I think I'm confusing this movie.
Yes.
So, your character time travels to the future, but it's her age in the future, not her age now.
Okay, no. So what happens is she's 11 now. Obviously, she time travels to 2030. She's still 11, but there's an obviously in the future she obviously would grow up. So there's a version of her that's 18. That's her.
Oh, so there's two of her.
There's
in
two
that.
of her.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I was a little confused on
Oh,
what
it's
you
totally
guys were
fine, yeah.
mentioning, but
Same thing
got
as
it.
and like if you watch the trailer, her friend, she's 11 here. She went to the future. Now she sees her friend. And that's two versions of her technically. It's the same version.
Got it. Okay.
Same person, but
you know, in the trailer, there's this specific edited part that I really like that you did was when you were putting. Is it a cassette?
Yeah, it's a cassette.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Walkman.
Yeah. That specific part where
It cuts really fast. Like
Yeah. I really
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, me too. I loved editing that part because I was getting the shots and I won't lie to you. I was like, this is not gonna work. I was like, let me see, and I got all the shots, and then when I got into editing, I started putting up because they have to be a second or less, which you're like, what is less than a second? It's a millisecond. But when you're editing it very quickly, you have to make sure none of them clip or anything. And once I hit play after like 30 minutes of me putting all of them together like that, I hit play and it was like it did the whole thing
It's
you
really
saw,
nice.
and it looked good. Yeah,
And
it looked really good.
the theme, the current, like the 11-year-old, was it taking place in like 2021 or taking place in
Now.
Now?
2023,
Okay.
2023. Which I realized, I won't lie to you, while writing it, I don't know why I didn't just say, oh, it takes place in 2015, and then 7 years later, then it would be like now or like around now. Then it would be easier because then I wouldn't have to worry about, oh, what looks different? Not much because it's like, you know.
Yeah. Because just because of the trailer, it gave me a little bit. This one has a different vibe. Like
Right.
even the text that says how to save the world. That
The font and everything?
yeah, the font looked very different. The
Yeah.
music choice and kind of the color. Color
Great. Color grading. Yeah, there you go.
is very different. So I
Yeah.
thought it was taken a little bit more back in the day.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I
you know
kinda
what I was
thought
going for?
too.
Yeah. So although I could have done that, been like, oh, this takes place in the 80s, and she goes to the what I did was I said that it takes place now, but what I did in the score and like the music you're gonna hear in the movie, it sounds like it's in the 80s because you're gonna hear a lot of synths, a lot of pads, and the way she has like the Walkman on her all the time, it looks like it takes place like in the 80s. It's very
It
retro.
does. It does.
Does
But,
it specify 2030?
It doesn't say it says it doesn't say that it's 2023, but it does say 2030. Yeah, like you'll see. So how it works is because this is not going to ruin it. How it works is you have to get the cassette tape. You write whatever day you want to go to, the year, day, time. If you want to, you don't have to do that, but you could write the time if you want. You put it into the Walkman and you hit play. But when you hit play, you have to hit fast forward because then it'll send you to wherever you want to go. But what happens is there's going to be an issue in the movie where like they don't know that obviously, so they have to figure it out. So that's
Oh, okay.
but that's what the Walkman's for. That's what it's the thing that makes them time travel.
Oh, okay. I saw that. How did you? There's. And sorry, interrupt.
No, you're
In the beginning of the trailer, there's a part where he walks into the room, he sits onto the bed with you, and then he gives you the Walkman, and then you're like, "What is this?" I'm curious because of your age. That's very rare to see. No, I'm being serious.
No, it's like it's a good question.
Do you know how to use one of those? Like, have you seen one, or was it the first time you saw one?
It's probably the first time I saw one in person.
I told you.
In person.
In
I totally
person,
forgot
but
about
I've seen it before.
Okay. Did it work? Did you try it on and play music?
Does
Or?
it work?
It worked for 3 seconds. Like the day we got it, I opened it, put batteries in it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be dope. And I put a fake cassette, empty cassette. There you go. And hit play, and it went. It stopped, and I was like, I took the batteries out, put them back in. It didn't work. It wouldn't work anymore. So it broke in 3 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. How did it feel to have that on? Because now it's so different. We got AirPods. We got different pods.
We got iPhones.
Yeah, we got iPhones. How did it feel to actually see one, put one on, and for the 3 what did you say? 3 seconds?
It worked. It's like 3 seconds.
It felt like I wasn't back in the day,
Really?
like just putting them on.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
How would you feel if that's how life was like?
That'd be kind of cool.
we had no phones. You didn't have your phone.
That'd be cool.
Nothing like that.
I think I'd like it. I like
like
retro
it?
stuff. That's why I used the Walkman. I was like, oh, Walkman. Because I was thinking of, again, like a car, but that's too much Back to the Future. I was like,
What were you thinking with like how the time traveling was gonna work? Why'd you choose a Walkman?
a Walkman?
Yeah, why'd you choose that?
music. I really like music. I love music, obviously.
Me too.
But there you go. And she loves music too. But I wanted it to be something different because I think there's another movie called Hot Tub Time Machine, which I'm assuming the hot tub's a time machine. So there's a hot tub that time travels. There's a car named a DeLorean that time travels in Back to the Future. I wanted it to be something that you can hold because all this thing where you have to get in something and it goes like that's. Like, what if you're running and you gotta like jump and like you're out of there? So I was like, oh, it'd be cool for one if it was kind of like a retro-y type thing, which a Walkman. But it'd be also cool if the way you have to do it is you have to listen to the song and like it has to play all the way through for you to be able to time travel. And I thought that was cool. It's just something different, I think.
I have like one question, not kind of, movie based, I guess. Is Jassmin friends with the other little girl?
Aaliyah, her name is.
Her name's Aaliyah?
Yeah, her name's Aaliyah.
Are they friends?
No, they're not.
They're not?
It was so funny because they have to be friends. They have to be like best friends in the movie.
Oh,
and my
good
mistake.
question.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh.
No.
Wait,
that,
what?
that I said that her question is a good question.
Oh yeah.
But continue.
That's not good. I made a mistake by what you're supposed to do is introduce them before and
You
then
didn't.
send them out to go hang out or like do whatever, right? They met each other first day and filmed immediately. I was like, this was a terrible idea, but it worked great. It worked great. You won't even notice. Like it doesn't look bad at all. They look like they've been friends for a while, but no, they're not friends. They just met for the movie and did and then now they don't really. I put them together for the movie and then now they don't really talk no more.
Oh. Why not?
Oh, I mean, they can if they want to. They're a little. I won't lie. They're both very different. She's 1 year older than her, but they're both very different. Yeah, in their own ways.
I want to know a little bit more about how did it feel working with other people that you didn't know. I mean, you've seen your brother, you know your brother, but how did it feel, and how was that process for you?
At first it felt kind of awkward because I didn't know them, but like more over time I got used to them. I just got comfortable with them.
And what did you learn from this experience? It is your first movie with your brother, but how did it feel? What did you learn from it?
Trying to think. I don't know.
Anything. Like, what did you learn? Like, did you learn something about them? Did you learn like,
About yourself?
About yourself? Like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at it. Yeah. Or like, what's something you learned about Lilith? Anything. She's funny. I don't know. Like, yeah.
Yeah, she's really funny.
Yeah. Is she good?
Yeah, she's also really good at acting.
Oh, okay.
Wait, is Lilith the other little girl?
Lilith is my early. We call her Lilith because she's our friend. But she's the bigger one. She's
Okay.
like
okay.
Ellie you said is the
Aaliyah is the.
Aaliyah.
She's the 12-year-old.
Oh, okay.
It's so interesting. Like I'm kind of piecing this movie in my head because we haven't watched it, but
Kind of fun.
it sounds. Was it fun to shoot a movie? Like yeah. I have a couple of people that I know who are trying to get to acting, but I don't know. It's just a different world, right? You're pretending to be something else, and you have to like make it be so real. And so that experience must be different. And you're very young, so you'll continue to grow and learn in different sets.
And for Miguel, when you said you wrote everything, right? Did you have everything like planned in your head? How was that? Like, did you? Because you said you also like took a few weeks off. How was that like?
Oh yeah.
Filming, like, did you know? Okay, I want to do this for the. I don't know how you like write it. Like, I don't know how directors do that. Do you write the scene out, or is it just the line that's written out?
So I'll answer the first part. I wrote the whole thing out in one go, which is what most directors do. They either write it by hand, which is they write. How you write a script is you need to write what type of, let's say we're going to cut to the shot, which is, you just cut to it, or fade in. You would write on the top right, fade in, and you put like two little dots or whatever. I don't know what they're called. I don't know the exact terms, but I know what I mean. And then you write where the scene is taking place. So either interior, which you would put INT, or you put exterior, EXT. And then you write Jassmin's room, and you write Jassmin's room, and you write put a dash and put nighttime, morning, dawn, whatever you want to write. And then under that, you write details. We see Jassmin laying down on the bed, and the shot is above her. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And then she says, and then you write Jassmin's name. Under that, you write what she's gonna say. You write a line. So that's how you write a scene or like a script, and you keep going until you're done. I wrote it in one go. I did it last year, I think. I wrote the movie last year, and I did take a break from it because I didn't know where I wanted it to go. I didn't actually know, like from point A to point B. I did know what I wanted to happen, but in the middle, like I always struggle with the middle. I know how I want to start the movie. I know how I want to end the movie. I don't know what's gonna happen in the middle. Like I don't know what I want to do in between. So that took me a while, but then I just got inspiration by watching just videos, movies, other you get inspiration. And I actually had to rewrite the ending because there was an original ending that was a little bit more let's say action-y type. But then I thought of Streets, and I was like, I don't want to end a movie with not action, but I don't want it to feel too similar, right? So I was like, let me rewrite it a little bit and make it more like calm, if that makes sense. Like not as crazy. Let's make it a little bit more like chilled out ending. And it's not like the ending's bad or anything before. It was good. It was a good ending. It's just this one's good too. So you could end it differently. Yeah. So it just depends. But it was a process.
And how did you get the name How to Save the World?
How to Save the World? It originally was going to be called Like No One's Watching.
That was the original?
That was the original
like
name,
no
was Like No One's Watching, because her character in the movie is a dancer. And not like a dancer, like ballerina dancer, but she likes to dance. She likes music, and you'll see it in the movie. But I like the phrase dance like no one's watching. So like no one's watching. I just didn't want to put dance in front. I was like, no one's watching. But when I was writing it and doing all that, I realized that I didn't like the title because it catches your attention like no one's watching. That kind of catches your attention. But for some reason, in the back of my head, I was like, how to save the world, how to save. It kept coming in, and I was like, what? And then it kept catching my attention. How to save the world? Oh, how do you save the world? You know, so and I thought of it as a metaphor, not literally how you save the world, right? Because that's, you know, I'm not gonna get into it, but you don't know how you're gonna save the whole world, right? And does it need saving, you know? But I thought of it as a metaphor. So how to save the world really means how to save like your world, your own world. You know, everyone has their own little worlds. Like their mom might be their entire world. Like, oh, I love my mom so much, you know. So I'll leave it at that. That's why it's called How to Save the World.
Oh, I thought when I was imagining the movie, I thought it was like she was saving the world.
She was saving the. That's totally fine. But that's kind
Like
of
she went to the future to
But
like
that's
save
kind
the
of
world.
also why I was waiting to answer that, because I didn't want it to throw. I wanted to throw people off on purpose. Like, oh my God, we're gonna save the world, right?
Yeah.
And you see them together, and you're like, oh, they're gonna go figure out how to save the world. And then you watch it, and you're like, oh, never mind. So it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. How to save the world is a metaphor.
Yeah, well, I would just want to say that you said you've done 17 in total. And
I don't even remember.
and every time it seems that you're continue to grow. How do you feel about this movie? How is it?
You seem really excited.
I am very excited. It's because it's different. It's something different. I was why would I say names? But I'm not going to anyway. People have like asked me, do you want to do anything different? You don't want to try like you know, like horror movie, or like something different, right? Because I obviously those 17 have always been like drama or action, and that's just because I got used to doing that. So I was like, oh, I'll just do it again. But I did it better every time. And then eventually it turned into a thing where that's just what I was known for. Like, oh yeah, he made short films, but they're action, they're fun. But no one took me. In my opinion, no one really took me serious as like, oh, he maybe doesn't want to do like a movie just about drama or just about romance or anything like that. So for this one, I really wanted to make sure that I made it different from Streets. So that's why I'm very excited about it, because it doesn't have action. It doesn't have any action at all. It's not an action movie, but it's funny. It has a lot of actual funny moments in it. So I would say it's more like a coming of age comedy drama-ish. You know, it has a couple of things in there, but it's something I wanted to do differently. I don't know. I just was very interested in trying more of like a character piece between two friends instead of like a really big like, oh, action movie with a lot of guns and a lot of violence and everything. I wanted to try it from a different perspective, if that makes sense. Right?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Okay, this is like kind of a two-way question. Jassmin, since you're like starting your career a little early on, from what you've done so far and what you've learned from this process, what advice or anything would you like to share with other youth that are around your age?
I'm trying to think. What do you mean advice?
Like advice, like being like you're really young, and being in a movie at your age, I think is really hard for people. Like when I was 11, I would never have wanted to be in a movie. Like I was way too shy. I would never want to do that. So what would you tell other kids who want to do it, but they're too scared to do it?
And not just, you know, acting. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Not just acting,
but like kids who want to do something that they really like. What advice do you have for them? Should they do it? You know, that stuff.
Like, just take your time, like, take little steps until, like, once you get used to it, like, just follow your dreams.
Okay, thank you.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
Follow your dreams.
You heard it from Jassmin.
Yes.
He said, what?
I really like that, because there's no age, I would say, to be creative and experiment with different career fields, and which is why Tay is hosting a career fair, which you guys are welcome to join, because I'm a big believer, and I think Tay team can back me up. If not, then scratch what I said. that we're always told, like, you have to think, especially as you grow older, you'll hear voices and people around you who tell you like you're behind or you haven't figured things out. And usually you think after high school you should have everything figured out, but even until you're up to 30, I feel like it's a time to explore and see what you like. So if you start at a very young age experimenting, like maybe you don't end up liking acting in the future, but you take a different role, whether that's creating music, being a doctor, being a lawyer, whatever it is. The good thing is that you tried all of these things at your age. That way you have more of a knowledge of what you did like, rather than when you're I don't know, 30 and you're like, oh, what if I did that? How would have that turned out? So I think for me, it's at your age you're a perfect example of it. Just do it, right? Just go. And like you said, it might feel uncomfortable, awkward, but once you're there acting, you start to meet new people and you feel better. And then you can go from there.
Exactly. I love the way you worded that.
That was a good way of wording it. Yep.
And same question kind of to Miguel. What tips or advice would you give to upcoming youth that want to start a career in directing, filming?
I've said it a million times, but just do it. You know, Santi just said it right now. Just try it out. There's nothing wrong with not having, you know, resources or the gear that you want or any of that. You can always just try it out with what you have, like we were talking about earlier. Although it may seem kind of not, I don't know how to say the word. It's a specific word. But though it may seem kind of like, oh, I don't have, you know, what I need, or maybe I shouldn't try because I'm really scared it might be bad, or my friends might make fun of me or anything like that. You don't have to worry about all that. Just try it out. There's nothing wrong with, you know, trying new things and maybe even failing at them and, you know, learning from that. But at least you get to either learn that you like the thing that you tried or you don't like it, right? At least you did it, you know? Now you have something to, you have a story to tell later. Like, oh, I tried to be in a movie one time, or I was in a movie one time, or even just, it could be anything. It could be photography, it could be filmmaking, it could be editing, a sport, all that stuff. Just try it. There's nothing wrong with trying new things and, you know, give it your all. Just, you know.
Yeah. And since you started off filming on an iPhone, I feel like especially for like people who are learning to edit, especially like if it's on an iPhone, they're filming something, what advice have you learned from filming on an iPhone that you would like to share?
Get an app. Don't use the video camera part of like don't take your phone out and just put video and record. Don't do that. There's an app. The thing is, if you're not willing to spend a little bit of money to do a little bit better, then it's not going to work for you. You know, you got to be able to take risks and, you know, sacrifice stuff to be able to do what you want to do better, right? Or even great. So I would say if you have, you know, $20-$30, I would recommend buying an editing software on an iPad or on an iPhone, which there are some in the Apple Store, you know, Google Store, whatever, and just learn how to use stuff like that, because there's YouTube, you know, you could look up videos on how to edit and things like that, and they always work. It always sounds kind of weird. Oh, I looked up a YouTube video on this. That's great. There's so many YouTube videos on how to do stuff, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with like, oh, I didn't go to film school to learn this. That's fine. You know how to do it now, though, right? So it's no big deal. So I would recommend, looking up videos on how to maybe record on an iPhone or invest in a little bit of gear. It doesn't have to be expensive, but just a couple, like maybe a microphone, because you don't want to use the microphone on an iPhone. It's good now, but when I was using an iPhone 7, it wasn't good. So I was like, So I would recommend getting a mic that plugs in, and, you know, you could put it up and hold like a tripod. There you go, a tripod. And a little like gimbal where you could put your light and mic and everything. So spend a little money, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But not too much.
I'm curious, before I say my last few things, did you study or you watch YouTube videos to practice your acting, or you just threw yourself in the water and did it?
Sometimes I would go on TikTok and they just pop up on my For You page.
Oh, okay. So you use TikTok?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, she loves TikTok.
So it'd give you tips on how to act.
I love the message at the end is, in any career field that you are in, it's, you know, doesn't matter if you have all the equipment, but using the resources you have right now. So like YouTube, your phone, and figuring out ways to be creative. And I think that's the main message that I want to end with me, and the note for everyone is that's really important. I think myself, when I started with a very, like, I think it was a Canon camera, but it was one of those little tiny ones until my little brother broke it. Then I upgraded to a much newer version. But as long as you're excited and creative, you'll learn as you go.
Yeah.
And you don't need, and I'm reminding myself this on the show because that's kind of what stops me at times because I want things to be perfect. And if I put myself in the shoes of acting, I would want to know all the skills in order for me to act. But I know that the best way to practice is to just doing it, getting on set, coming in, because you'll learn along the way. So for everyone out there, just remember that whether it's music that you're doing, write your own songs, record your own music. Even if it's not perfect, you're still taking that first step, and eventually you'll take another step and another step, and you'll get there. So yeah, thank you for sharing about that.
Yeah, you don't even have to like post it.
Yeah.
Just as long as you like record it.
I have a lot of like, my very first short film I made called Robert is really quick. It's like 17 minutes long. I have a lot of versions of that short, like the intro, because I did the intro a million times, and Devin can tell you this. I have so many versions that are saved. I have them. They're in like my Google Drive, and they are really different from what I actually did. So you can always like try it and then do something else, or like try it and maybe do it differently, you know? So there's nothing wrong with like making a song and then not showing it to anybody.
Yeah.
It's
Even
okay.
if you don't
It's
even like it the first time,
it's
just do it again.
Try it again.
You did how many versions?
I don't remember, like 7, like 6, 7. I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. You can do as many versions as you'd like.
I'm kind of curious, and I want to see your script. I'm curious if that's a possibility. I don't know.
For this one?
Yeah, I just want to see the script, how
it looks.
How it looks.
Yeah,
I think-
absolutely.
Is it a screenplay? Is that the correct term?
Screenplay? Yeah.
Okay, I want to know how you kind of do that.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
wanna
I'll show
see
you
it
after.
if I can
Yeah.
see it, because it looks interesting, in my opinion.
I don't think I've ever seen one either.
Okay.
I have the script.
She
It's
has
a stack of paper.
It's just like this big of a stack of paper. She just
Really?
looks
Yeah.
through it. You could do it on because what I do is I have it on an iPad and you could scroll through, which is what they used because I like touchscreen stuff. I like paper, but I'm like on set I'm like but she has a copy of it in paper. So
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah.
So I think I'm just sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, go ahead.
I'm just curious, how did you memorize all of that, or did you have your script with you?
Me
Often.
too. I also wondered how you memorized
Oh, she memorized it?
She memorized other people's lines, and I'm like, that's not what you're supposed to remember, but that's awesome. I don't know how she did it.
Yeah.
So explain.
How'd you
yourself.
do it?
So like back in the 4th grade, I used to do presentations, and like I would always memorize them. I'd go over it, and I don't know. I guess I just have a good memory.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you use your script often on set, or you knew what to say?
She basically.
I would use the script often.
Oh, okay.
Because there's little, the script also has little details, as in like, let's say we're having a conversation real quick, and it says, "Oh, Miguel leans on the table." So it would say leans on the table, but while I'm talking, I'm doing that. So it would say that in the script, so you knew you had to do that. And if you don't want to do it, you could just do it like this the whole time, and then later I can have you do it the second time, win the second take. So that's why she looked at it. But you did know almost all your lines, and you knew someone else's lines too. I was like, damn.
Were you able to be in character right when he said action, or would you have laughing moments?
I would have a laughing moment sometimes.
Yeah. Here's why I asked, because we were just shooting a promotion video with Annalie, and it's very short. The video is very short, and I think Annalie is laughing in the background with me about this because we just randomly laughed, like ready action, and we laugh. Or she starts to smile in the middle of my line, I'm laughing. Or it's the same thing, vice versa. And I see Javier there all patient, and I'm like, I'm sorry. But we went back and forth. And she didn't even notice things, and I didn't even notice things about myself. But I remember her legs going like stretching out, and Javier's like, stay in the same position because so it looks weird. Yeah. And she didn't even notice. She was like, what am I doing? So we took behind the scenes of that. But I was just curiosity on like the action. I don't know if it's nervous reaction that right when they say action you start laughing. Like I can't keep it together. So for actors, I'm like, a lot of them it's like actions, tears, go. So
For real, yeah.
So like, it's so cool, and like I don't have that skill, but if I did, that would be amazing. If someone did something to me, I'll cry.
Okay, we are at the end of our show, and thank you guys both for being on the show. And you're an inspiration. I when I was 11, I would not be able to do any of that stuff. And Miguel, thank you so much for being on the show. Jassmin, thank you so much for being on our show. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.